What I love about Ted Cruz, he is a principled constitutionalist. I don't want to call him a principled conservative. I want to call him a principled constitutionalist, usually. All right? And by that I mean he loves the Constitution. He wants the president to stay within the parameters of the Constitution and wants government to pass laws that are in accordance with the Constitution. He will not back down. He will hold on to his principles like a pit bull on a bone, okay? And I've got a dog that's part pit bull. And you cannot get something out of that dog's mouth. He's crazy. That's Ted Pitt. That's Ted Pitt. That's Ted Pitbull Cruz. He holds on to the Constitution. He holds on to his principles. And I believe that they won't be shaken. He really would instruct the Attorney General to start a criminal investigation to Planned Parenthood. And I love that. I said mostly because he's made statements that would indicate that the Supreme Court makes the law of the land. In other words, in his public statements about Obergefell, the homosexual marriage case, he has said, well, I would rather that it was left to the states. That's a cop-out. The state does not have the right to make something legal that is an act of treachery against God and man, okay? Any more than the states had a right to make slavery legal. In other words, think through the argument. Well, slavery should be left up to the states. I don't want the Supreme Court ruling on it. No. You don't have a right to own a slave. It doesn't matter what state you come from. And you don't have a right to have so-called homosexual marriage. And by the way, are you comparing homosexual marriage to slavery? Well, only in the fact that both of them are serious sins against God. And both of them, according to the scriptures, are sins, slavery and homosexual activity, are sins that cry out to God for judgment. The worst crime is the shedding of innocent blood. Babies being murdered. All right, I love Ted Cruz. I love Donald Trump because he's a wrecking ball. Now before I say that, let me just remind you of something. If you are in a building project, okay, you might need a finished carpenter. You might need someone who knows how to lay tile and have it be level and have it be symmetrical with all the walls. Laying tile is hard. All right? You might need the tools. Let's just talk about tools. You might need the tools to have beautiful, ornate woodwork. You also, in a building project, might need a wrecking ball. And on many levels, that's Donald Trump. Now, if you saw his speech last night, his acceptance speech, his victory speech, he didn't accept anything yet. He wants to have an acceptance speech of the nomination at the convention. I talked to Mitch McConnell. I talked to Speaker Ryan. I'm really getting along with the establishment. It's time for us to unite. So he's trying to be magnanimous. He's trying to be inclusive. He doesn't want the Republican establishment to try and steal this nomination from him. And that is what they are trying to do. Make no bones about it, all right? And the reason I love him is because he is a wrecking ball. One of the greatest impediments to victory for restoring this republic to righteousness is the Republican establishment. Yes, they're the Benedict Arnolds. They're the Judases. They're the traitors. They're the treacherous. Not all of them, but many of them. They're the ones funding Planned Parenthood. They're the ones funding Obamacare. They're the ones funding the Obama's immigration policies. The Republicans are the ones whose Chamber of Commerce buddies want the illegal immigrants to get amnesty. Don't you remember the Gang of Eight was comprised of a bunch of key Republicans who wanted amnesty for illegal immigrants, okay? The Republican Party establishment, they are a key roadblock to victory. And if you've got a roadblock, if you've got a building, if you've got something that's in your way, you don't need a finessing finished carpenter. You need a wrecking ball. And that's what Donald Trump serves as. And by the way, he also serves as something regarding Hillary. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And former Speaker of the House, John Boehner's choice for president. This will blow your mind.